On April 10, 1901, an unusual experiment was conducted in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Dr. Duncan McDougall was going to prove that the human soul had mass and was therefore measurable. He conducted this experiment on 6 dying patients who were placed on specially made Fairbanks weight scales just prior to their deaths. The patients were selected based upon their imminent death. 2 patients were suffering from tuberculosis. A total of 5 men and 1 woman were selected for this experiment. Dr. McDougall's intention was to weigh each body, before and after death, to determine if there were any differences noted on the precision scale. In the company of 4 other doctors, Dr. McDougall carefully measured the weight of his first patient prior to his death. Once the patient died, an interesting event occurred. McDougall explains.
Suddenly, coincident with death, the beam end dropped with an audible stroke, hitting against the lower limiting bar and remaining there with no rebound. The loss was ascertained to be 3/4 of an ounce.
What caused this weight loss? Everything was taken into account, from the air in the lungs to bodily fluids. It still could not be explained. The experiment continued on the next patient with the same results. Dr. McDougall felt he was on to something extraordinary. According to Dr. McDougall,
the instant life ceased, the opposite scale pan fell with a suddenness that was astonishing, as if something had been suddenly lifted from the body. Immediately, all the usual deductions were made for physical loss of weight, and it was discovered that there was still a full ounce of weight unaccounted for.
Following the experiment and consulting with the other attending physicians, it was determined that the average weight loss of each person was 3/4 of an ounce. Dr. McDougall concluded that the human soul weighed 21 grams. All 5 doctors took their own measurements and compared their results. Not all the patients lost the same weight, but they did lose something that could not be accounted for. And then something interesting occurred on the 3rd patient. He maintained his same weight immediately upon death. It was only after a minute had passed that he finally lost an ounce of weight. Dr. McDougall explained this discrepancy as follows.
I believe that in this case, that of a phlegmatic man, slow of thought and action, that the soul remained suspended in the body after death, during the minute that elapsed before its freedom. There is no other way of accounting for it, and it is what might be expected to happen in a man of the subject's temperament.
Dr. McDougall conducted the same experiment on 15 dogs. The experiment showed no change in weight following their death. McDougall concluded that this may signify only humans have souls. H. Lav Twining, a physics teacher at Los Angeles Polytechnic High School, attempted the same experiment on mice in 1917. His conclusion was in line with that of Dr. McDougall. There was no deviation in weight when the mice died. Dr. McDougall admitted that more research needed to be done. But following these experiments, he diverted his attention to obtaining the ability to photograph the soul as it left the human body. Unfortunately, he failed to establish any further scientific breakthroughs. Dr. Duncan McDougall passed away in 1920. No further credible experiments have been conducted to verify McDougall's claims. But doesn't it make you wonder? Do we have a soul which can be measured?